back to the aspirant penetration tester. Today we are doing another lab over by Me, and today we are doing the Vulnversity lab, learning about active recon, web app attacks, and privilege escalation. So I've already have this lab up and running, and we need to do a little bit of reconnaissance on this lab. And so first off, we can go ahead and start by sudo nmap. I have already did this, but let's start off by doing this. So we're going to scan for one default scripting engine and going at T5 speed, service version scan, and we're scanning all ports. So we're going to go and enter our sudo's password, and we need to have that run for a bit. So this is telling us that it will take possibly around 3 minutes. So I will have to speed up the video so I don't bore you guys. Okay, so the scan has finally finished, and now we can look at the reconnaissance here. As you can see, this goes through a brief usage of nmap and how to use it. Scan the box, how many ports are open, 21, 22, 139, 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. Oh, how many ports are open? I counted the filtered ones. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So hit submit right here. What version of the squid proxy is running on the machine? So squid proxy. So this is the version right here. Copy selection and paste. So this is information gathering that you want to find out as much information as possible on a host system or a computer. So how many ports will nmap scan if the flag tag p tag 400 was used? And this is quite obvious. It will scan from 1 to 400, which is 400 ports. Using the flag tag n, what will it not resolve? So we can find out that quite easily. So you can go man nmap. Here you can go slash tag n, and that will search for tag n, and never do DNS resolution. So DNS, hit enter right here. So what is most likely the operating system this machine is running? So from fingerprinting the device, we have OpenSSH, Ubuntu, we have another Ubuntu, we have around 4 cases that it is a Linux Ubuntu, so we're going to try Ubuntu. Hit enter, and that's correct. What is the port the web server is running on? And open HTTP, which is quad 4 threes, and that should be correct. It is important to ensure you are always doing your reconnaissance thoroughly before progressing, knowing all open services, which can all be points of exploitation. It is very important. Don't forget that ports on a higher range might be open, so always scan ports after 1000, even if you leave scanning in the background. Completed. Wonderful. Locating directories using GoBuster. So, uh, GoBuster. So, GoBuster is a tool for brute forcing directories. So we can go booster there, tag u for the attack URL http colon slash copy the IP address. Sometimes that doesn't work, so I'm just going to make sure Ctrl C, Ctrl Shift V in the terminal. And now we need to specify the port, which is port 333, because that's where the website, that's the port that the web server is running on. And we need to also specify the word list, so we're going to do tab W, and there's lots of directories that come customly on the Kali machine. So what you can do is go user share word list, and we can go and hit tab a few times, and we can go there buster, hit tab a few times, and then we can select the word list that we would want to use. So let's say let's use this one. So we're going to hit enter on that, and now go buster, we try to figure all of this out. So okay, so what we need to do now is let's start scanning the website to find hidden directories. That's what we're doing with Buster here. GoBuster is a tool for brute forcing URL directories and files, subdomains, virtual hosts. So here's some brief instructions on how to use Buster. So we found images. Let's go ahead and go over to here. Copy selection. So let's first copy this, and we're going to go paste 333 slash images. And as you can see, we have a few images over here. You would want to thoroughly go over all of this in our actual penetration testing simulation. We have fonts, CSS, that stands for cascading, style sheet, how the website here is actually styled. This is the web server, so that's the how they styled it. I don't think that's much valuable. Well, I don't think fonts and JavaScript may be valuable, but let's try this and see what happens. So we're going to go paste and go. So using a fast directory discovery tool called GoBuster, you also have Durbuster. You will locate a directory that you can use to upload a shell to. So internal has the form to browse and select and submit a file. So yeah, so we found what TryHackMe is asking for, so we can go ahead and stop GoBuster. So what next? So we could go ahead and copy this slash enter, and we can hit that as completed. So we now we have found a form to upload files. We can leverage this to upload and execute our payload that will lead to compromising the web server. Or try upload a file type. Try upload a few file types to the server. What common extension seems to be blocked? So actually we could do a number of things. We could have, well, let me cd into my documents, and home slash bug hunter documents. So let me just hit open. We need to open here because what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a few things that we could have done. We could do create a file document empty. We could, let's say, image dot txt, and we could save that, and we could have dot php, dot html, dot png, dot jpeg, dot jpg. But basically what we want to do is that we're going to test to see if this can be uploaded, or what file types does it accept to be uploaded to the server. So the .txt extension is not allowed to be uploaded to the server. So what we can do is that we could use Burp Suite to fuzz the extensions that are allowed to be uploaded on the web server. So let me just go ahead and start my Burp Suite. I need to update, but I'm not going to do that right about now. So here now we're going to identify extensions which are not blocked by fuzzing using Burp Suite. To recommend using or trying out or completing the Burp Suite room, but it's paid, so I never got to do it, but hopefully when I get some money I'll try to do it. And we're going to use intruder used for automating customized attacks. To begin, make a word list with the following extensions. So that's that PHP. So what we can do is that let's go nano word list dot txt. So let's do that, and then we're going to create that php dot php 3 dot php 4 dot php 5 and dot html. Basically everything in the word is right here, as you can see, and we're going to hit Ctrl X, then modify a buffer by pressing Y and hit enter. And now if you go cat word list, you're going to see everything that we have just created, which is great. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to intercept the traffic using burp burp, and yeah, so let's do that now. So let's browse here. Let's try this image that takes it that we created first, and we're going to hit submit. So now if we go over to proxy, we realize that our browser here is hanged and not loading because it's intercepted by burp. And now we can go ahead and hit intruder, because we indeed know that this extension is not allowed if we do try it again. So have you sent it over to intruder? Okay, great. So what we can do is go to proxy, and we can drop this response. We can also hit back right here, and we're going to go to intruder. After we're over by intruder, we're going to clear all of this, but what we want to highlight right here is the .txt, because we're going to set the .txt as the payload which we're going to be fuzzing. So the sniper will represent this alone, and we're going to go to payloads, and we're going to load our, where is it, where did I create it? I think it's should be word lists. Oh, it's in documents, so it's word list. So let's go open, and that's everything that was right here. And now we can go and hit start attack. So it will start the intruder attack. So based on what we know, if we go over to the response and we type extension, and you will see that .php is not allowed. So what the try help me asks, try upload a few file types to the server. What common extension seems to be blocked? And let's try that PHP. Oh, it's hanged by Burp. So let's try submit that. That seems to be the correct answer. So now run this attack. What extension seems to be allowed? So let's try this, and it says extension is not allowed, which seems to be very weird. Which I've gotten this in a few attempts. I don't know why this keeps on happening. Which it should not be. PHTML actually should be allowed. Let's check it. Let's check. Let's check the reality of what's going on. So we're going to come back over right here, and we're going to turn on our burp, and we're going to hit submit. And as you can see, it's hung again, and then we're going to go to the proxy and go action, and let's go to repeater, and let's try and search for this. So we found the same place where we had the intruder attacked, and it said it did not work. But I'm not sure why it did not work. But if I add that PHTML here, and as you can see in the intruder attack, it clearly said extension not allowed. But if I press send here and you look at the response, you can see there's nothing that says extension not allowed. So sometimes that happens. Yeah, sometimes that happens while doing these sorts of tests. So we can go ahead and turn on the intersect, and what we can do just to test that once again, we could go here and let's change this. Let's rename it. Shit. Uh, doc, documents, and then let's rename it to PHTML. Let's go rename. So now we're going to browse. We're going to open this file. We're going to hit submit success. So sometimes that happens. I don't know why it does, but I guess it's just a thing. And now we have done all our work with this. I think maybe because I haven't updated the burp. So guys, always update your burp suite to fix latest bugs. Yeah, so we know that now that the .phtml with file extension is not allowed to be submitted into the forum. So we can go ahead and hit PHTML. Okay, great. Now we know that what extension can use for payload we can progress. So we're going to use PHP reverse shell as our payload. A reverse shell works by being called on the remote host and forcing the host to make a connection to you. So you'll listen for incoming connections, upload, and have your shell executed, which will beacon out to you to control. So here, try help me has specified a PHP reverse shell that we can go ahead and use. We could just copy this, but what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and do Git Clone instead. So I'm going to go Ctrl Shift V, uh, Git Clone, and now we're going to hit enter. Now we have code into that. So now we're going to cd into it and go ls. Now let me just clear and hit ls again. Okay, so now we have the PHP file right here. So I'm going to use mousepad and we're going to go into the PHP file, but we need to edit one thing, and that one thing is our IP. So I'm going to search for the IP, and it's right here, and it's set to 127.0.0.1, which is the local host of your each device. So basically, in your IP, like if I was to go ahead and go like, let's say if con let's go if config. So if I go to if config, you realize that hey, I have a local host right here. So each device has this, including Windows, every device. So that's on the machine itself. So you won't want the payload to be connecting back to the IP itself. You want it to connect to the tunnel VPN IP, so it could connect back to you on the VPN, the Tri-Hop-based VPN. So that's one way how to think about it. And we're going to be connecting on 1, 2, 3, 4. We can change that, we can edit some other things, but let's not for demonstration purposes. And that we save that, and now we're going to hit close. But now we need to go ahead and we need to edit this file. So php, where is it? Okay, it's right here. So we need to edit this file name, the extension to phtml. So rename it, and now we should be able to upload it to the website. So now we're going to go browse, and now we're going to go here and go here, and now hit open. But first we need to go ahead and do netcat and listen. This argument right here would listen on this port to see if anything is calling back to us. So we're going to hit enter, and now it's listing on port 1, 2, 3, 4, which is also selected in this file right here. So we're going to hit submit, and that was a success. But now, just as in the image directory that we once in, so I think, let me just see if I can go back to that images. So if you realize, if I click on this, you realize that this changed that. So to open this, right, the URL changed to this to open this. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to basically open that PHTML file on the web browser. So we're going to go back to internal. We're going to go uploads slash, and that's PHP reverse shell, and don't forget the extension, which is HTML, and hit enter. Okay, so I specify HTML is supposed to be PHTML, so hit enter now, and as you can see, we have gotten a reverse connection right here. So we can go ls Okay, we can go else and now we're inside a Linux file system, which looks clearly different from the eternal blue file system. So you can tell that this is a Linux. If you're a Linux user, you tell that this is a Linux file system, and you can tell the Windows file system are quite a lot different. So now we can go ahead and go back over to try help me. So completed the restart the netcast session. What is the name of the user who manages the website? So you know that if you go over to cd home and go ls, you see the user bill. As I've done, let me see where I can give the best um demonstration. So if I go cd slash home, you'll see that this auto completes to the user of the web of the computer right here, which is bug hunter for me. And then I could go into documents, I could go into downloads, I could go into desktop. So that's a demonstration right there on what is basically taking place. So we know that the user is Bill. The thing about this shell is that we don't have a lot of privileges actually. So that's a key thing to note. So we can now go cd into Bill, and we can go ls again, and we can cat user.txt, and that's the first flag right there. Copy selection, and then we can paste and submit. And now we're at the last phase, which is privilege escalation. Now you have compromised this machine. We are going to escalate our privileges and become the super user, aka root. So answer the question. In Linux, SUID set owner user ID upon execution is a special type of file permission given to a file. SUID gives temporary permissions to a user to run a program or file with the permissions of the file owner, which would be root. So you're basically borrowing root's permission with the SUID permission. So we're going to rather, and this says rather than the user who runs it. And the user who runs it would be basically a lower privilege user, for example Bill right here. So Bill will temporarily run a file that he's not permission to run. That's basically what's taking place with set owner user ID upon execution. So, for example, the binary file to change password has the SUID bit set on the slash user bin password. This is because to change your password, it will need to write to the shadowless file that you do not have access to. Root does, so it has root privileges to make the right changes. So this is the SUID chmod permission. So let me give you a brief demonstration. So if I go ls, I mean tag l and go user.txt, you can see that the permissions actually is read. So that's an example basically of the permission set to this file right here. So if well, let's just continue here. On the system, search for all SUID files. What file stands out? So use the command. So this will basically search for all files with the SUID permission, some form of permission of 4000. So let's just paste clipboard and we're going to hit enter. So this will all load a lot of files, and we'll see what we don't have access to, which is permission denied. which we do have access to. And if we look at all of these, possibly the only thing maybe good right here would be this and this, if we needed to SSH into the machine maybe. um but maybe for SSHing we do need to run sudo or have privileged usage, or you need privilege to run it. But from here, which I do have permission to, as you can see, read write SR, from right here we can see that we have permissions to the bin systemctl. So we can copy selections and paste it right here, and we have the right answer. It's challenge time. We have guided you through this core. Are you able to exploit this system further to escalate your privileges and get the final answer? Become root and get the last flag, and the last flag is root.txt. So you know that one here is where we will be exploiting, because it would be been on mount quite obviously. So we need to exploit bin systemctl. So I always say that majority of the times when you're doing hacking on the overall, there is a vast and large amount of information on the internet which is available for you to use and to find information, because you're not going to be able to store everything inside of your head. That's what it is. So you can always go back to this, which is Google. So we can go bin/systemctl and privilege escalation, if I spell that right. And there's a problem with that thing right there. So okay, so being a bitch, let's just do that. Okay, so we have GTFO bins, which is a wonderful place to learn about Linux, in specifically exploitation or priv escalation or misconfigurations to get privileged. So if the binary has the SUID bit set, it does not drop the elevated privileges and may be abused to access the file system. So from reading this right here, we're going to use the SUID and abuse it to access whichever file that we don't currently have permission to use, but temporarily using the privileged user with the SUID backdoor. So it's basically kind of like a misconfiguration. So we're going to open mousepad and we're going to copy down this right here. But we're going to I often say that you're not going to always be in the same position as another person, so you will need to change it to the situation that you're in, and it's not in the the systemctl file is not in the dot slash or that directory right there. It's in the slash bin folder. So that's a key thing to note. And the next thing that we need to note is that we're going to use bin bash. We need to specify the permission. So we're going to use that permission and specify slash bin bash. So anytime we call upon bin bash, that means that we're going to execute all of this code to get the one time or temporary usage of the privileged user, which is root. So we can go ahead, let me just zoom in up on that for you so you can see it better, and we can paste selection. So here you might wonder what you should do, but you should actually hit enter another time, and now you can see that there was a created symlink notification there, so which is great in our case. So now we can go bin, or let's say /bin /bash. You can go and hit enter, you can go bash tag p, as right here said, if it is used to run bash tag p sh tag p, can open it the tag p argument, but we're going to leave it in this case, and we're going to hit enter. So now this should work now in theory. So we can go ls and can go cd dot go back. We need to go back 2 times to go back to the slash directory. So now we need to try and cd into root, and as you can see, we can now go into root. Before we couldn't go into root actually. So now we can go ahead and hit ls, and we can now cap the root.txt file, and that's the file I'll have for you there. So what happened here is that before, if I haven't done all of this, I wouldn't be able to go into the root directory because I do not have the password to go into the root, or I don't have the permissions to go into the root directory, which is this right here. It will fail you and tell you that you cannot, and that because you don't have permissions to. What this did is that it temporarily gave you permissions to access anything as if you were root. So that's another way to look at it. So we can now go over back to try help me, and we can paste in our flag. And congratulations, you've completed the room. So thank you guys for watching the aspirant penetration tester. This is the Vulnversity. Learn about active recon and web attacks and privilege escalation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I had to restart a couple times because of nice background, etc. You know, a lot of things can fail when you're doing a YouTube video. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd say please consider subscribing to the channel, have post notifications turned on, and giving us a thumbs up. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.